Welcome to the Money Made Human podcast. It celebrates at its heart the work of credit unions and their vital role in enriching our lives and communities. Brought to you by First Class Credit Union, each episode features insightful discussions revealing the meaningful impact that can be made through economic collaboration. Mostly, it's a collection of compassionate conversations about navigating life and the individual journeys we take. Now, Jane, before we get to questions, which I've got quite a lot of, I just want to do a little summary of your career because there's quite a lot to go at here. So, we've got 151 caps for Scotland, 62 goals. You played for Glasgow City, helping them to, I think, 6 consecutive league titles, helped them to get to the last 16 of the Champions League. You've played in Sweden. You've played in England, you've played for Man City, you've played for West Ham, you helped them get to the FA Cup final, you scored the goal that secured Scotland's place in the 2019 World Cup, you've played for Rangers, you've got numerous Scottish Cups and League Cups, wow, and now you're working for the trade union for footballers, the PFA Scotland, focused on youth and women's development. Wow, well done. Jane?
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So how long did you play football for? What does that career last?
Quite a long period of time. I think it was, let me work this out, calculate it, just under 19 years in total.
Is that right?
Yeah, kind of going into full-time environment, I suppose, starting out at 16 years old with Glasgow City, and then that probably gives my age away, but finishing at 35 with Rangers last season.
Amazing. Well, we're so proud of you. We're so proud to have one of Scotland's most capped footballers with us today. Now, as I understand it, you grew up actually on one of the Scottish islands in Rothesay.
Yep.
What was your pathway into football from there? Because that sounds a bit unexpected in a way.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was just normal, I suppose, but I grew up on the Isle of Bute on the west coast of Scotland. I was football mad from when I was a young girl.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think I was kicking a ball about probably from when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I used to just love every opportunity I got. I would be out playing with my neighbours, with my friends from school. I think I spent the majority of my free time just playing football. So we had a local coaching clinic on the Isle of Bute, which I joined as a young girl, and would train with them 2 or 3 times a week, up until the age of 13, when some of my friends were starting to go and play with some of the boys' clubs on the mainland, and I think I wanted that opportunity as well. So my dad done his research, and at the time there wasn't the time of internet, so he was making phone calls trying to find out where the most local club would be to commute from the Isle of Bute to go to. So when I was 13, I signed with Paisley Saints in Paisley, and would commute there to play football.
Oh my goodness. So in terms of your dad taking you to football, that would involve a ferry?
Yeah. And
how would that work? So you would go there and train a couple of times a week, or?
Yeah, initially, I think I trained with Paisley just one evening a week. I was part of what was called the elite squad as well. Maybe not the first year or so, but from when I was 15, there was the SFA elite squad. So it was kind of a pathway to getting noticed for the national team, I suppose. So I trained with them once a week, and I trained with Paisley one night a week. So I would have 2 nights away, which, as you say, involved getting the first ferry straight after school, driving up, training, then an overnight stay, and then we'd get up early the next morning so that my dad could get back for work and I could get back for school.
He must be so proud of you, looking at your career, and I guess they would have made sacrifices along the way to make that all happen for you.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, I think I would never have achieved what I have or gone on to achieve if I hadn't had the support of my parents and my family. There's no doubt about that. I think, obviously, when I'm a young girl, you don't realise that, but now that I'm older and look back on it, I'm like, what they must have done to support me and be able to chase my dream, was amazing and fantastic.
Love, pure love. And what about for them seeing you go on to become one of Scotland's most capped footballers? What's their feeling about that?
Yeah, I think proud. I mean,
Proud.
my dad's a very proud man. He has been my number one fan the whole
Has
way
he?
through my career. Yeah, for sure. I
love
mean, don't
that.
get me wrong, my mum and family are also very proud, but I think my dad's been very supportive. And as I say, like, I think because he was driving me to all the games, to the training, like from a very young age, it's probably for him to see me go on and achieve what I've done. He has had a big part to play in that.
He's embroiled in it. He's involved and embroiled. What about in terms of that moment as a youngster? There must have been a moment where someone said to you, "You've got potential." Can you remember that? Or was it just a growing sense of improvement and development?
Yeah, I think there's probably just a growing sense of, I think as a young girl, as I say, like growing up in the Isle of Bute, like I didn't feel like the boys were running over me or anything like that. Like I think it was predominantly the boys that I would play with, and I think I felt like I could hold my own up until obviously a certain age when maybe physicality like started to change. But
Sure.
I think just playing every day with them, and there was no pressure. I was just enjoying myself. I was improving. I was working hard, and I think I just loved playing, as I say, and loved the goal of trying to improve and get even better.
And what happened in terms of getting to Glasgow City? Was that a big break for you? Was that a pivotal moment for you?
Yeah, probably when I look back in terms of, I was playing with Paisley Saints at the time. I think I'd had a call up to the under-15s, potentially under-17s, I'm not sure, like national team squad. So I think I was developing and I was growing, and the step to Glasgow City was probably the next step in my career that I needed. Don't get me wrong, I was very nervous at that point to make that step, but I think I knew as a player that I needed to challenge myself, and at the time Glasgow City were one of the top teams in women's football, competing in the top league, and I knew that if I wanted to improve and get better, then I had to take that next step.
And what about in terms of, your growth and becoming part of a team? Did you feel as though you were getting, as you were getting older, did you feel a sense of confidence, and did you feel that improvement building in you, or is it something that just comes to you in terms of I've scored another goal today, or do you feel it internally? Do you feel the growth and confidence, or does it go by results? Is it a bit of both?
I think a bit of both, and I think it's probably like goes in a cycle as well, like in terms of the confidence and the growth, and you're improving, and then you maybe hit periods where it was like, like I'm not doing as well, and I think that's probably just part of being young and growing and developing as well. But I think I was fortunate. I went to Glasgow City and I'd signed thinking I probably won't get so much game time my first season. Like I'm a young girl and coming into this experienced squad with so many top players in it. But I was quite fortunate that I did play a lot more than I expected, which probably helped my development at that point. And I was just driven and ambitious, and I think I wanted to become the best player I possibly could, and to go on and play. The goal was to play professionally, but at that point, when I was probably 16 years old, signed for Glasgow City, I wasn't sure if that was a possibility or not. The game has grown massively in the last 20 years, which now there's so many more opportunities. But I was fortunate that the game has grown the way it has, and I had that opportunity.
See, when you said there that sometimes, I guess you get a blow if the results don't go your way, how did that affect you as a young person in terms of mental well-being? I see it a lot. I have some kids that play football, and if they don't get a good result, they can come home and I can see that impact their kind of physiology as well and their behaviour. How did you interact with that?
Yeah, I mean, I was very competitive,
You
so
were.
I think,
You
yeah, if
were.
I lost a game or I hadn't performed the way I would want, I was probably like, yeah, not so happy for a while after. It took time to process it, but I think on reflection now that I'm older, I probably just went through the process of it frustrated me, it annoyed me, but then I would use that frustration to motivate me. And it was
That'd be a catalyst for
yeah,
doing better.
yeah. So I would always just be looking to improve, and the next time I didn't want that to happen. And yeah, I think looking back, there was a lot of probably results that at my younger age drove me and pushed me to become better.
And then along this way, you've started playing for the Scotland, I guess the youth team attached to Scotland. Tell me about that journey. How do you become one of Scotland's most capped players? Consistency?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I got into the youth teams, as I say, from under 15s. I represented Scotland through under 15s, under 17s, under 19s. And then was fortunate to break into the A squad when I was 19. I think similarly, it was probably, I was in the squad, I was not selected. And at those moments where you've been in, you've had a taste of it, but then you maybe don't make the next squad, were probably, yeah, motivated me, as I say, like to drive me to push harder, to work harder and become better and continue to grow.
Where does that passion for, I can sense that from you, almost sitting here, that passion to do better and you know, one more. Does that come from a family member? Is that your dad? Is it?
I'm not
Do you
sure.
know?
My dad is very competitive, to
Oh,
be
is he?
fair, so probably to an extent, but I wouldn't say it was instilled in me, like, in terms of, like, I think neither of my parents are particularly sporty or anything like that, so I don't
Okay.
think that side of things has come from them. I mean, they definitely have ingrained, yeah, good values in me as a person, and as I say, my dad is a competitive guy, so that side of things has probably come from him, but I don't really know, to be honest. I think it's just my personality and the way that I have
A will to
always
win.
been, that I always just want to be the best version of myself, regardless of what that's in.
I love that. When you said there about the values they've instilled in you, what would you say they are?
To be a good person, and to be my own person. I think they always allowed me to make my own decisions and supported me with whatever decisions I made. So I think I'm fortunate that I've come from, as I said previously, a very supportive and loving family, and I'm very grateful to have had that upbringing, and yeah, for them to still be by my side supporting me also.
Of course, I love that. What about your onward journey with football? So you're at Glasgow City. You're starting to do well, I guess, with Scotland. Is there another break that happens for you that you would say was pivotal in your journey?
Um, I left, so I lived on the Isle of Bute up until I went to university at 18. And I attended Glasgow Uni for 2 years before transferring to Stirling, which was the National Performance Centre.
With sport?
Yeah. So it was the SFA National Performance Centre at that time. I completed my degree at Stirling University in Sports and Exercise Science, whilst also training basically as a full-time athlete. We had like our strength and conditioning sessions, we had extra technical sessions at the academy, and then I also trained and competed with Glasgow City. And I think having that environment, helped develop me massively as an athlete. And yeah, as you say, we were doing well with Glasgow City, we were having success, we had a good run in the Champions League. And I think...
You got to the last 16, is that right?
Your memories may be better than mine. We done well in the Champions League. I can't quite remember what round we got to, but I think, yeah, my university degree had finished, come to the end. I'd started a master's, but I think there was opportunity there to go and play professionally. I went and trialled with some clubs, and yeah, I think at that point I was ready to go and be a full-time athlete.
And give it a go.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah.
I think that was always the dream.
Yep.
And as I say, I think being at the National Performance Centre prepared me physically, probably, for the level to take the step to becoming a professional footballer and to have that opportunity. It was something that I couldn't turn down.
How do you balance doing a degree, a full-time degree, at two quality, immense institutes of education and train, be an athlete, have this vision for the future? How do you balance all of that? That must have been tough at times.
Yeah, I think just, my life was football and university. Like, that was probably majority of what I had time for. I loved it. Like, as I say, like, I was football mad. I loved playing football. I loved pushing myself to become the best version that I could be. And it was a great environment as well. We had a great group of players there at the time, so it was enjoyable and fun. And yeah, I gave what I could to everything that I done.
And then you went off to try to be a professional footballer. What happened then? You were successful?
Yeah. So I signed with the Swedish club Vittsjö. Trying to remember my Swedish here and get the pronunciation right.
Whereabouts in Sweden are they based?
So it's down the south.
Okay.
It's like an hour or so from Malmo.
Okay.
So relatively, Vittsjö itself is a very small town, and I lived in Hässleholm, which is a small town but bigger than the village of Vittsjö, close by. So I loved the experience in Sweden. Great culture, great people, and the team that I went to were very supportive, great people.
How did you find transferring internationally? Would that have been the first time you were really away from home, or were you used to that with being at uni?
I think being at university had probably helped me with that, because I had lived away from home for 4 or 5 years by that point. So it wasn't like I was used to seeing my family often or my friends from home often. I went to Vittsjö. I was fortunate that we had another Scottish player already there. Okay. So I think that helped with the transition as well. She looked after me and helped with that move. And as I say, the people and the girls at the club were all great. They made it very welcoming and easy to transition into.
Would you say also, this is not a footballing thing but a life thing, when you go and work internationally, it does help to build resilience in you as well? I think when you're away from home, you're kind of standing on your own 2 feet, you do become more resilient, and also I think more inclusive of others as well round about you. What was your experience?
Yeah, no, I'd say so. I think definitely helped me grow as a person. I think, as you say, it opens your eyes to like just different culture and how other people live their lives. I'd only lived in Scotland up until that point, so I think you just experience new things and different ways of living, I suppose, and it definitely helped shape me as a person.
And you moved from Sweden to England, is that right?
Yes. And
to some big clubs in England, Manchester City.
Yep.
And then to West Ham. What was that experience like? I imagine they've got excellent facilities and culture set up around the women's football teams.
Yeah, the WSL down in England is definitely a league that's grown massively over the last 10-15 years. I think I joined Manchester City, and the setup that they had there for the women's team at the time was probably one of the best in women's football. We were based at the same training facilities as the men, other part of the building along with the academy, but still, like, the facilities that we had there, the support staff that we had was excellent, and an amazing environment to be part of.
And you from there played for West Ham, helped them to an FA Cup final, is that right?
Yep.
How did that go? How was that whole experience? Was that at Wembley, or where did you play that?
Yeah, the FA Cup final was at Wembley. Amazing.
It was.
I think we probably had started at the season. It was a new club, basically. Well, West Ham had been a team, but this was their first season in the WSL, so there'd been a lot of new signings that season, so it was a lot of new players come together. So I think when we started out the season, the expectation probably we didn't expect to get to an FA Cup final. So I think just the journey that we had that season to get there and experience that as a group was, it was special, and it was an exciting thing to be a part of.
It was immense, the teamwork.
Yeah.
And from West Ham, you come back to Scotland, is that right?
No, I went to Manchester United first. Back
So
to Manchester.
so this is really interesting because you played for both sides in Manchester.
Yeah.
What was that like, to go from a blue jersey to a red one?
I mean, I went via London, so I technically wasn't a direct route. Yeah, I think the rivalry is definitely there in the women's game, but probably not to the same extent as in the men's game currently.
Sure.
I probably was also fortunate that one of my teammates from Manchester City, Abby McManus, had come to Manchester United at the same time, but she'd gone directly. So I'm not sure if that maybe took a little bit of the the heat off of me. But I think, to have experience playing for both clubs is amazing. They're both huge clubs in the men's game, and for the women's side also, they're obviously top teams down in the WSL. So I loved Manchester as a city to live in, and to get the opportunity to move back and play for a club like Manchester United. It was something that I just couldn't really say no to.
I can't help but wonder what your parents would say if they were talking about you to other people, in terms of our daughters played for Man United and Man City and Scotland. They just must be so proud of you.
I wouldn't want to be in the car room when my dad's talking about me, to be honest. Goodness knows what he's saying. But no, they're definitely very proud, as I say. And
there must also be a very, very small amount of footballers that have done that, have played for both Manchester clubs. Must it be a small portion of
probably. I don't know what the stat would be, but yeah.
I'm going to check that out tonight. There must only be a few people that have ever done that. And then from Manchester, you moved back to Scotland?
Yes.
And to
Rangers.
To Rangers.
Yeah.
And what was that like, playing for one side of the old firm? You know, we're in West Central Scotland just now, and it's a big thing for us, Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like?
I mean, I grew up as a Rangers supporter, so I think to have had the opportunity to have played for the club was basically a dream come true, I suppose. I think, Was that
a team that your dad would have followed?
Yeah, so my dad was a Rangers supporter. My papa also was a big Rangers fan. So I think, as I say, like to come back to Scotland and to sign professionally, which the game when I'd left Scotland wasn't at a professional level. So to have the opportunity to come back closer to home, closer to my family and friends, and to sign for the club that I'd grown up to support was, as I say, a dream come true.
Playing for your childhood team professionally, the team your dad and your grandfather would have loved. Wow, incredible. And how long were you at Rangers for?
Let me get this right now. 4 years.
Is that right?
Yes. I signed in 2021. 4 years.
So you would have had experience, I guess, of playing in an old firm game?
Yeah.
And we interviewed Andy Walker a few weeks ago, and he was talking about a moment of running out to play against Rangers and the feeling of that. Is that something that you can, kind of empathise with?
I think obviously playing in an old firm, it's they're special games. But I think there's a lot of competitive games in the Women's League in Scotland also. So I think for me, I always just loved playing in the competitive games.
To win.
Yeah, exactly. As you can see, competitive nature coming through.
Yeah.
I think, it was obviously, those games were great because they were so competitive.
And what about your Scotland journey would have continued as well? Does anything special happen to a footballer if they reach 100 caps, or in your case 150 caps? Is there a commemoration of that? How are you celebrated for that level of achievement? Or could we do more?
No, I think the SFA, for my memory's not that great here. You're going back a while. No, for my 50th, 75th, and 100th, I got gifts from the SFA.
Oh, you did.
And also for the 100th, you get a cap from UEFA. So yeah, I have accolades along the way to obviously
to mark those milestones.
Special milestones. Which I don't know. I don't overthink those achievements.
You're quite humble though, aren't you?
Potentially.
I think so. You are.
Yeah, I think obviously when I sit back and think about the things I've achieved, I'm very proud to have done that. But I think
we're proud of you.
Yeah.
Where do you keep all your football memorabilia? I'm just thinking you must have quite a lot of it.
I have a lot in my parents' attic.
Okay.
They probably have, a few boxes worth, and then, everything else is in my flat somewhere. I do have some framed tops, which I haven't got around to putting up on the wall yet, but yeah, they're there to do.
What's your most precious item? What would you say if you had to rescue something? Is there something that you really love or honour the most?
I can't think of anything. I'm not a very materialistic person.
Okay.
As I say, like, amazing achievements, and I love, like, when sometimes I'm looking through things and I find something I'm like, oh, amazing. Like, it brings back the memory, even when you're talking at the start and you're like listing things, and I'm like, it brings back the memories, and I'm like, yeah, those were some really good times, and yeah, obviously just amazing to have experienced.
But you don't need the material things to go along with that?
I wouldn't say so, no. Like, there's definitely, some tops in there that when I look at, I'm like, amazing, but I wouldn't pick one specific thing.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good answer or not.
What about other female footballers? Are you a fan of anyone, or anyone that's played? Would you say that's someone I've looked up to?
Yeah, definitely a lot of players that I enjoy watching currently and previously. I think growing up, I grew up in a time where social media isn't where it is at the moment, so your exposure to female players isn't what it is now.
Yep.
But I think growing up in Scotland, like, Julie Fleeton was someone that I really looked up to, especially as a forward player. Her achievements in the game. She was away playing professionally. She was playing with Arsenal, scoring goals. Her goal record for the national team is just unreal. And I think as a young girl growing up, like, that was, someone I looked up to.
And someone that has 62 goals yourself. So you've been able to emulate some of that?
Yeah. I mean, she's got far more, but yeah.
I think 62 is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm definitely pleased with that.
What about the women's game in general? You talked about when you left Rothesay, and it wasn't what it is now. It's grown massively. Yeah. Probably, I guess the Euros would have had something to do with that. The explosion around that.
Yeah.
What's that been like to witness? And I know you just said when you came back to Rangers you were able to sign professionally, but we're still seeing growth in the women's game?
Yeah, I think, as I say, it's grown massively from when I started as a 16-year-old. I think the way the world's developed also has helped that, with things like social media and more exposure to the game. But it's growing, and there's still probably further to go.
As a female footballer, what would you say are the frustrations? Is there frustrations around equality of treatment, financially, equipment? Because I had read a thing about that women are more susceptible to get an ACL injury, which is the cruciate ligament.
Yeah.
And I read that, and I don't know if this is true, Jane, but I read that part of the reason might be that women may be playing in football boots that are designed for men, so it can create an injury in itself. They should be specially designed, but I don't know if there's truth in that.
I think ACL injuries are multifaceted, so I think there's research at the moment going on. So I think FIFA Pro, along with other organisations, are currently doing research into ACL injuries, which is great, because I think it's an injury, as you say, that is happening far too often within the women's game currently. And it's a long-term injury, which no player wants to go through, and no club wants to have their players going through. So I think the more we can understand about those types of injuries, then the more we can hopefully nullify.
Sure.
The more we can reduce is the word. The more we can reduce the chances of those injuries happening. I think with the women's game, we've obviously, it was banned for a large period of time, so we're at a later starting point than the men's game, but I think we're growing, it's developing, and I think the more research for a start that can go into the women's game, we can understand we aren't just men playing women's football, we are female athletes, and there's a lot that comes with that is specific to being a female.
And the biology of a woman.
Yeah, precisely. So
Yep.
I think the more we can understand about the female athlete and female footballer, then the more we can help support players.
And hopefully that research can help as well.
Yeah, hopefully, definitely.
We're a large credit union, as you know, and our common bond allows us to serve footballers financially, but also football clubs. And we started out by speaking to a football club about perhaps giving them funding to do or to treat ACL injuries in females where they perhaps couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
And try and bring some equality to that, because the men were getting treated immediately.
Right, okay.
But some of the women were having to wait on an NHS waiting list. So, as a credit union, we hope to, if we can, if people are accepting of that, we can perhaps help a little bit and try and bring some equality to the treatment. Because I guess what worried us as a group of female financial leaders was that some of the women in Scotland, for example, they work as well. They have a career, they have a full-time job, and they play football. So an injury could take them out of their working life as well. And I don't know what your views on that, and the juggle. We're good at juggling anyway.
Yeah.
But just what that looks like for female footballers, and that balancing potentially two careers at the same time.
Yeah, I think for some of the players, not all clubs at the moment are fully professional within the league.
Sure.
So as you're saying there's some that are still working a full-time job and then training as a player. So I think the more we can grow the game, the more we can get all the clubs to a full-time professional level, then areas such as medical, as you're talking about, will hopefully continue to grow and improve.
Is that something you would like to see? Would you like to see all the clubs having a professional status at some point for women?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's great that we have professional clubs, and as I say, every year on year, it's growing and developing. But I think if you want the league to be as competitive as possible, then you have to give all the players that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. In terms of equality, I know, I think a couple of years ago, the United States, I think they'd won the World Cup, and they went to campaign for more money because, as they rightfully said, they were world champions, and they'd brought a whole host of viewers to watch that on TV across the world. Can we do more in terms of equality? Is that something that PFA Scotland champion? I know it's difficult in terms of, I guess, television rights and still a growing market for female football, but is that something we can all work towards in the future?
I think, equality obviously, is hugely important for me personally anyway. I think the game is growing, and it's growing at a rate that you don't want it to go too quickly and the whole thing just combusts.
Of course.
So I think it's trying to get it to grow at the rate that it's going to.
Sustainably.
Sustainable, yeah, precisely. I think in the ideal world, as I say, like, we would want all clubs to be professional, and we want the best standards. I think, as you're saying, my role within PFA, I think for the working conditions of players, those has to be at the best standard they can be, and that's hugely important, that comes into the game.
On another note, is there more pressure on female footballers in terms of how they look, in terms of appearance, compared to male footballers? We saw last year on social media, I think it was a young footballer that had signed her first professional contract, but she got so much derogatory abuse on social media because of what she looked like. And I'm not sure we would see that if it had been a male. I don't know if their appearance would have come into it, and it just seemed, really unfair, and it must have been really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you want to see happening at all. I think social media gives everyone a voice, which is the thing that, it's not what you want to have happening to anyone, regardless of whether it's about appearance, whether it's about performance. I think online abuse is something that, isn't okay.
Totally.
Not whatsoever, regardless of gender. I think that's something that, as I say, the social media allows people to have a voice, and for them to hide also and have that voice, which
and to be cruel.
And it's not great at all. So I think definitely an area that, could be improved and can be supported more.
And you do work in this field for PFA Scotland. You focus on youth and women's football. Just turning to youth football for a moment, what's your hopes for that? What does good look like for you in your day job, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the union have been fantastic. They've supporting the youth players up until I came into the role. Obviously, there's already great support there in place. So we run different events currently for youth members, also younger female members also, whereby we support them with CV writing, transitional, also the wellbeing side of things, which we have Diane Scott, who's fantastic at what she does, supporting players with the wellbeing side of things. So I think,
because it's tough to break through and get into football.
It's a very competitive environment, and I think for me, and within the role I have, it's supporting those players to obviously pursue the dream that they have, but also to prepare for the what if it doesn't happen. So,
which happens a lot.
It might be that players go on to play full time and have successful careers, which is what we want for everybody. But the reality is, every kid coming through the academy, every youth player, isn't going to go on to play full time professionally at the club that they're at. So it's preparing players as best as possible for what happens if you go down to part time. What happens if you maybe step away from the game for a year or so before having a move elsewhere. So it's kind of just trying to help them, support them as best we can.
And I guess also for them to know that if they don't make it, they're still valuable.
Yeah, most definitely. We have, as I say, a couple of events that run throughout the year. The first one, which supports them in areas like financial wellbeing also, which is hugely important, because they're young kids, they might be signing their first contract, and it's what do they do with that money, or if they are in a position where they're uncertain at the moment, it's okay, how can they financially best support themselves for what comes next.
We were very privileged to be involved in one of your forums around financial wellbeing, and we were just trying to say to the young footballers, even just save a few pounds every week. It doesn't need to be lots, but it's getting into that good practice of saving money.
Yeah, definitely.
We're all tempted with material things, especially young footballers, and but we were trying to say, look, just save a little bit, even if it's just £4 a week.
Yeah,
It gets you into a
and
great
that's
habit.
obviously why PFA Scotland are business partners with yourselves, and help and support and provide the best support to the players that we can.
And what's your hopes for the female side of football? What do you want to see for women's football in the next months and years to come? Growth, sustainability?
Yeah, as I mentioned, growth, sustainability, just for the working environments to be, at a level where, as you're saying, players come in and they can train and they're not thinking about, oh, what happens if I get injured here? Like, what does this look like? They know they're supported. That maybe looks different depending on what club it is, but I think, there's probably a minimum standards that needs to be met, or needs to be obtained, to continue to grow.
We've seen the work of PFA Scotland up close in terms of, we think you're really a thoughtful team in the way you approach everything, in the way that you look after your footballers, regardless of level. Mm-hmm. So someone trying to break through to someone at the top of their game, your approach is the same, which we really admire in all of you. In terms of the being part of the trade union, does that still give you that link to football? Do you still feel the same as you did when you were playing, in terms of you want to do the best for the trade union now?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's just my personality that I want to give my all and do my best for whatever it is I'm doing. So I think, transitioning into this role with PFA Scotland, still being involved with football, but from the trade union side of things, as you say. I think I just want to help support the players the best way that I possibly can, and bring my experiences from playing the game to the role and be able to help them.
If you were advising any young players trying to break through just now, what would your experience be? What would you be saying to them just now?
To just pursue it, mm-hmm. to work hard, to take on advice and listen, and to just become the best version of themselves that they can, but not just as a player, but also as a person. I think, sometimes you can become so engrossed in football that it becomes your whole personality, whereby I think, especially if you can grow and build different identities as you pursue that career, then it bodes you well for whenever the time may be that, you step away from football, because regardless of how successful a career you may have, there is always going to come a point where you do retire. Need to step away. Unfortunately, we can't play till we're 70 or 80 years old. So I think it's preparing as best as you can, which is another part of my role with supporting players with the personal development side of things, is to prepare as best you can whilst you're playing for what comes next.
Mm-hmm. And still, again, that thread of you're still valuable, and you can still add value even if you're not playing football.
Yeah, most definitely. That's the human element to it, isn't it? In the sense of seeing them as a human being as well, and growing different aspects. And they're not just footballers; they're sons, their daughters, their brothers, their sisters, their partners, everything. So it's kind of just trying to open players' eyes to that also.
I think the work that you guys do is so thoughtful behind the scenes, and I'm sure it's of great help to the footballers, whatever stage they're at. And the women are playing for a place in the 2027 World Cup. So that's just happening just now, is that right?
So the qualifiers are ongoing at the moment. Okay. I think there's another couple of group games in June, at the beginning of June, and then looking like playoffs to qualify. So hopefully, the women can have success also and be going to Brazil next year.
And if for anyone listening to this, what more can we do to support our national team or our women's clubs up and down the country. We're a national credit union, so, you know, we have members all across the UK. Is it about supporting? Is it going out to watch? Is it taking an interest in results? What more can we do?
Yeah, definitely. I think go out, watch a game,
Yeah.
experience it, and yeah, as I say, the game is growing, and I think I personally enjoy watching it. I love it. It's exciting. I think the SWPL, the last 4 seasons, has gone right down to the wire. Last game of the season, so it's very competitive and close, and I think it's exciting matches to go and watch. So I think, yeah, just go along, support.
Get out and watch it.
Yeah, definitely. And with the national team also, get yourself along, watch a game, and yeah, hopefully we can continue to grow the fan base also.
Now, Jane, we have some questions from our team, if that's okay. Now, I haven't seen these, but our team like to ask some questions to our podcast guests. Okay, this is a really good one to start with. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say, knowing what you know now?
Enjoy the journey. I think,
I love that.
yeah, and enjoy the moments like of success. I think, as I say, I'm like just very driven and always wanted to achieve the next thing. And I think now sitting, reflecting and looking back, there's probably moments where I could have enjoyed, just enjoyed it a bit more. Yeah, just being in the moment more and just, yeah. But
is that because in the moment you would have been worried about the consequence or the next thing, or you just don't embrace that present moment?
yeah, I think just embracing the present moment is something I've probably got better at as I've got older, which is just maybe what it is when you're younger. You maybe don't do that so much, but I think, yeah, enjoy the journey as well. It's one of, yeah, highs and lows, and I think just embrace it all.
I love that. I'm going to keep that one to the end. If you could choose one reason why someone should join a trade union like PFA Scotland, what would it be?
I mean, the amazing support that you're going to get. I think just also the collective, in terms of, yeah, everyone being together and pulling towards the same thing. But yeah, I think the support that PFA Scotland or other trade unions offer to their members. I know with PFA Scotland we have legal support, wellbeing support, personal development, and then also our business partner support also. So I think, yeah, there's many great reasons to join and be a part, and yeah,
Something for everyone.
yeah, have your voice heard.
Oh, definitely. What would your best piece of advice be to someone just starting out in life? So maybe someone leaving school or uni, what would you say to them?
That's a hard question. I think just be yourself. I think work hard, give what you can to whatever it is you're pursuing, and yeah, be happy.
I need to take that on board. If your life, this is a brilliant question, if your life was a song, what would it be? It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
If my life was a song, I don't know.
I mean, yours surely it has to be something about believing and winning. It's come across so strongly, just your passion to be a great human and do well and succeed. I can't think of a song.
I don't know.
You'll keep us posted on that.
I'll get back to you on that one.
You'll
Let me
get
go
back
and listen to my Spotify, and then I'll get back to you on that.
Cool. Listen, Jane, it has been such a pleasure to speak to you. I think on behalf of First Class, we're really proud to have spoken to you today, but to have one of our most capped footballers with us, what an honour to meet and speak to you. And, I think from all of us, just to say we're really proud of you, and really proud of you as you transition into not retirement from football, but you're still involved in it. So Yeah, we're proud of you, and thank you so much for being with us today. What a superstar.
Thank you.
Jane
And thank you
Ross.
for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Money Made Human podcast. We're grateful to spend time with you and hope you enjoyed it. If you want to join a credit union, choose us. With love, until the next time, First Class Credit Union.